Now, as most of you have probably already heard, the next Star Wars movie, or what was supposed to be the next Star Wars movie, that being Rogue Squadron, which was set to come out in December of 2023, has been delayed indefinitely due to reported scheduling conflicts with the writer and director of the film, that being Patty Jenkins, who is also currently working on the likes of Wonder Woman 3 and a Cleopatra film for Warner Brothers. And as is always the case these days, along with this news, are numerous rumors about what's really going on behind the scenes or what's going to happen next. And though I don't want to get too much into all that, I literally made a video just a couple days ago about how tired I am of the endless rumor mill, about how so few of them pan out, which leads one to question where they even come from or how they get started. But anyway, there are some reports saying an Old Republic film has kinda been secretly in the works or being written since 2019 and will begin filming next year and be ready to take that December 2023 release date that used to belong to Rogue Squadron. And the reason I could see this being true is, well, I think Disney still wants to get another Star Wars film out in 2023. That will already be a 4-year gap, or be 4 years since The Rise of Skywalker. And I'm sure they want to see Star Wars make a return to the big screen and to get back to hopefully making the big box office dollars, though we can certainly debate whether or not Rogue Squadron would really be a huge hit or not. Plus, a couple years back at this point, Kathleen Kennedy herself did confirm something Old Republic was in the works, and I don't think she was referring to the Knights of the Old Republic video game remake, which was announced a short time ago. I think she meant something new, or some sort of new film or series was probably being created. Though I do have to wonder how far and into how many eras they really want to dig into at this point with Star Wars. I mean, right now we have what could be called the Mandoverse or the Filoni-Favreauverse, with everything going on with The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and so on. We then have the High Republic era, which is about to wrap up its first of 3 phases and will eventually see a live-action series coming, that being The Acolyte. And so do they really want to dig into the Old Republic era at this point? Not saying that as a fan I don't want to see it, but it just seems a bit odd, or should I say confusing, for non-hardcore fans to have all these different eras being explored all at once, to never be sure what's taking place when. It's certainly a far cry from the more linear approach of the MCU, where new movie or series generally just takes place after the previous one to come out, and usually carries on a sort of larger or grander overarching narrative to some extent. Though yes, the MCU is delving into alternate universes and all that sort of stuff, which could potentially be a bit confusing for the more casual fan. But so far, I don't see that happening. I don't see fans getting lost or confused when it comes to what the MCU is doing. Not the same way I saw fans of Star Wars confused, or should I say casual fans or non-fans confused by a movie like Rogue One, wondering or asking where is Rey and why are they building yet another Death Star. But I digress, and what I really want to talk about in regards to all this is to instead ask the question, why does this keep happening with Star Wars? Why does there seem to be so many problems behind the scenes at Lucasfilm with the films? Why do we see directors coming and going? Why do we see projects getting announced and then canceled or delayed, or even radically changed midstream, if you will? Like how Lord and Miller got fired when nearly done filming Solo, and then Ron Howard comes in to finish it, reshooting most of the movie along the way. And that's just one example, because we also have Tony Gilroy coming into what some describe as save Rogue One after Lucasfilm and Disney were very unhappy with what Gareth Edwards had originally done with it. Then there's Colin Trevorrow, who was going to do Episode 9, even had a script written that eventually leaked that we all got to read, only to be let go and to have J.J. Abrams take his place and to give us The Rise of Skywalker, a movie that sadly very few fans seem to really enjoy. We've also then had things like Rian Johnson being given an entire trilogy of films before his first Star Wars film, the rather controversial The Last Jedi, even hit theaters. And now we haven't heard one peep about that trilogy in the last 4 years, other than from Johnson himself, and only when directly asked about it. Then there was Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones fame, who were hired and were making a rumored Old Republic trilogy, but they left when they were paid hundreds of millions of dollars by Netflix. And these are just some of the more well-known and talked about examples. There are others. And so to me, and mind you, these are my observations and conclusions. I don't claim to be an expert in these matters or to have super secret insider sources. But to me, the reason why Marvel rarely ever seems to have problems like this, why we're not constantly hearing about delays or directors coming and going or having projects announced only to then be canceled is because Marvel has a plan and a vision in place first. Then they look for those who can carry out that vision. They're simply looking for the right person for the job, the right person for what they already have in mind or planned. And the one with that plan, or who comes up with it and finds the right people, is the man at the top, Kevin Feige. I've said before, one of the greatest things about him is he is probably as knowledgeable as any Marvel fan out there. He doesn't need to go to other sources to figure out what to do with his franchise. While Star Wars, on the other hand, has no plan or vision in general coming from within Lucasfilm itself. They're constantly looking for someone else who can figure out what to do with the franchise, constantly looking for talented people to come in and figure things out for them, rather than having someone at the helm or within Lucasfilm who knows what to do with Star Wars and then finds the right people to make that happen. And yes, there is at least one exception here. Favreau and Filoni, I think, are doing an amazing job with, again, the Mandoverse. There's a plan and a vision in place, and then they go out and get the right people, and it works because they know what they're doing from the very start, and they truly care and get Star Wars and the fans. But then there's Kathleen Kennedy, and yes, I am tired of talking about her. I'm not trying to complain about her for the 1 millionth time here, but she's clearly no expert on Star Wars itself. And so her approach seems to be to go out and find someone who, again, can figure things out and make films, instead of having a plan and looking for the right person to carry out that plan. And she seems very interested in what's hot now, instead of actually getting the right people. The Benioff and Weiss hire, again, they're from Game of Thrones, felt like a prime example of that. She got two guys who made this hugely successful series, and then, yeah, she's just hoping they'll magically figure out what to do with Star Wars and make something terrific. The Patty Jenkins hire also feels very similar to that. She made the first Wonder Woman film, which I think anyway was a pretty dang good film outside of the ending, which was a little too over the top. And we know that Kennedy wanted or promised she was going to get a woman to direct a Star Wars film, and so she got Patty Jenkins despite her very busy schedule. And now here we are, delayed. And to be clear, I am fine with a woman directing a Star Wars film. The one project I am most looking forward to right now is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, directed by Deborah Chow, a woman. And in all honesty, I don't care who creates Star Wars as long as it's good. I don't care who manages it as long as they know what they're doing. I've joked before that if a trained alpaca can create the next great Star Wars story, then sign them on the dotted line and do it. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Just give us good Star Wars. But seriously here, the biggest difference between the Marvel and Star Wars approach is Marvel is always announcing actual projects because they know what they want to do ahead of time. They have a plan and an overall direction, while Star Wars is always announcing writers and directors because they don't. I mean, when you talk about upcoming Marvel projects, or those that are years away yet, like say the Fantastic Four film, there's excitement there because we know what it's going to be. But when we look ahead at future Star Wars projects, we have the Taika Waititi movie and that one that Kevin Feige is going to be producing. And yeah, I get it. Everything that Marvel does is more or less known ahead of time. It's already an established property. We know what the Fantastic Four is, whereas with Star Wars, it could be taking us to somewhere completely new and different. And I understand it's harder to drum up excitement for something new and different, but the thing is, you could still try. You could still tell us what you sort of have in mind. You could give us a taste of what your idea is, where you think Star Wars should be going, instead of just saying, well, we hope this person can figure it out eventually. And I know this is the part of the video where some will want to take to the comments and tell me I'm just being a hater for the sake of hating or something, or no one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans do, or whatever you want to say. But instead, I'm just someone who's baffled by the way this multi-billion-dollar franchise is being run, without any sort of solid plan in place by people who really get Star Wars and know what to do with it. How that is not happening right now is beyond me. And though I wouldn't say Marvel is being run absolutely flawlessly or anything like that, at least they know what they're doing ahead of time and don't just throw darts at a board hoping something will stick and or work. At least with them, we're not always hearing about delays or directors coming and going or movies and ideas being canceled and then new ones being announced that we are supposed to believe are actually going to happen. And again, the exception here seems to be Favreau and Filoni, who in my opinion should just be calling all creative shots at Lucasfilm and let Kathleen Kennedy do something else if you really want her to remain as president. Like I said before, I don't want to keep hating on her. I hate making these videos about Kathleen Kennedy. I'm tired of talking about Kathleen Kennedy. But at the same time, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how many times we have to hear about all these problems with projects or directors coming and going before someone at Disney realizes whatever they're doing at Lucasfilm currently isn't working and something needs to change. Well, that's all I've got for you this time, and I'm sorry if I sound a bit tired or out of it. I've been gone for a couple days, and of course, while I'm gone, all this news comes out, so I'm trying to give you my thoughts and opinions on it. But now it's your turn to weigh in on any and all of this. What do you think happens next? Will a different Star Wars film be taking the place of Rogue Squadron in December of 2023? Could it be the Old Republic? And what do you think about the way Lucasfilm has been doing things, especially when compared to Marvel? Whatever you think, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.